Hello and welcome to the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
This is season 5, episode 40, dropping 41, dropping the day before the big game.
Yes, the only game that matters here in the state of Ohio at any point all year long.
Now, I got to break it down for the people listening that maybe don't understand. From like my high school sophomore year until about 5 years ago, which I turned 40 this year, if I haven't mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah.
I watched the Ohio State Buckeyes completely annihilate that team up north for what my son would call his entire lifetime till these last few years.
Yeah. We got a 4-year losing streak, 3-year losing streak.
Yeah, we got a losing streak going on. We lost to some cheaters. We laid some eggs. Last year was just a weird.
It was bad.
It was a bad performance, and honestly, Coach Day probably needs to win this one. With this team,
the good
and
news
this
is,
matchup.
The good news is if we can't win this year with this team, then I don't know what the end.
Somebody put a hex
is.
on the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I don't know what the end answer
curse
is.
like the Cubs or something like that.
It doesn't make any sense.
But that's this week. Today we have an awesome interview for you. So excited to share an LCS we spent a ton of time with you. Neuhart Cards, Keith Neuhart in Delaware, Ohio, is joining us, and we got to record this interview on location.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Shop.
It was a fun experience.
A lot of fun with there, and then I'll give him a quick plug. You'll hear it in the interview as well. But tonight, if you're listening to this as the episode drops, tonight at 5 p.m. at Neuhart Cards, you look up the Neuhart Cards online, you will find an address. Get there. Gary and I will be popping in saying, hey. It sounds like a lot of fun and jolliness.
Black Friday trade night. Should be a
Black
good
Friday
time.
trade. Oh, yeah. Maybe tell them what we're doing there.
Yeah, Black
Just
Friday
go.
trade night. Just
Black
show up.
Friday trade night. We'll see you there. That's coming up in just a little bit. But, boy, it has not been a boring month in hobby news.
No, and by the time you guys see this, you will probably have heard about this ad nauseum. But
there'll probably be 10 new scandals that have dropped.
We felt like we needed to address it as well. Probstein, one of the largest sellers of cards on eBay several months ago, announced that they would be leaving eBay and launching their own platform titled Snipe, which was an interesting choice of title.
Yes. Now, in the marketing, part of the communication was different safety features within this platform, verifying sellers, giving them statuses to
verifying bidders,
giving
them statuses. And the key thing was you could set up a snipe bid so that at the very end it would knock that thing out for you. So one of the things, if you've lived under a rock for the last decade in this industry, that Probstein has been known for is shill bidding. And
accusations of shill bidding.
Accusations of shill bidding. I would say that the accusations, it's that whole where there's smoke, there's fire type thing.
Maybe, Gary.
So Snipe launched, and as the first round of auctions were coming to an end, the entire system suddenly had a bug. And they had to shut everything down and turn off all the auctions. And then they were going to relist all those auctions once they got that bug figured out.
Coincidentally, now that I think of it, based off of my understanding, those auctions were about to underperform massively.
Yeah, a lot of them were.
So what a relief, right, for all those sellers.
Well, maybe.
Yes. Because, without Probstein in this auctions.
Well, do you know who had the bigger relief, though? Probstein. Because once that occurred, we started hearing little trickles. And it first popped up in a couple of computer hacker bulletin boards, and it made its way to Reddit. There was a massive security leak on the back end of this site.
Yes, there was.
And lots of user data was available, including the user file data sets, which showed lots of super bidders with completely and totally unverified information.
But super bidders were like, the whole point of it was here's their track record as
Yes.
people who have engaged ethically in this
Yes.
space.
eBay usernames that don't exist. Lots of email addresses tying back to Probstein himself, and several email addresses tied to known shill bidders, card trimmers, scammers over years in the hobby. Now, here's what's really interesting. Thousands and thousands of the bids on this new site were attributed to those accounts.
11,000?
One of the accounts was 11,000. There were 30 or 40 of these accounts. And as those auctions were coming to an end, guess who was in the lead in a lot of those auctions? Those accounts.
The goal is getting second place when you're, playing that game, I'm sure. But
yeah. So now, go ahead.
These accounts had even won a few auctions.
Yes. Yes.
Not most of them, but a few.
A few.
Which is interesting for 11,000 bids to only win a few cards. But it's possible.
And it was hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of bids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this happens. Site shuts down. All these leaks start coming out. Probstein goes silent until just a couple of days ago. Whew. Well, from the time you hear this, about 5 days ago.
Here comes the explanation. Here comes the defense.
Yep. And
put it to rest.
We got a statement released. Coincidentally, he released it to Jeff Wilson. Got to break a news story for once.
I'll tell you what, if I ever break the law in this space,
I'm going straight to
I'm
Jeff.
going to go book a vanilla interview with Jeff so he can just go and make a real stern face, but also say, "You're so brave for saying that."
Yeah. So he releases a statement to Jeff Wilson, which contains.
Wait, in fairness, by the way.
Yeah.
In fairness to Jeff, he did that one with Dr. Beckett where he had the chance to explain himself and he doubled down.
Yeah. And didn't
if
get pressed
Dr.
back on it
Beckett
all.
offered to do an interview with us, we'd take that.
Yeah, we would
so
also.
I don't want to.
We would also press back hard.
Everybody knows this.
Yes. Okay. So back to Probstein. Releases a statement, and the statement doesn't address any of these issues. Mm-hmm. All the statement says is, we'll eventually figure this out and give people back their cards and money. We don't know how or when. Also, we're just going right back to eBay starting on November 24th. We'll see you there. The end.
Yeah. Now, there were accusations of shill bids, and even, I can't remember the documentation, but with Probstein auctions back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
On this platform, on eBay,
well,
there have been issues.
Probstein, the way they got around it was that the back channels and what is kind of a known secret within the hobby is when you consigned cards with Probstein, you were just kind of encouraged to encourage your friends to bid, encourage you to bid.
Market your card.
Yeah, market your card.
Even though that's what you're paying us to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, so now he's just back to eBay. Now, you had a very interesting thought on that.
I just find it ironic that, I can ship 17,000 cards in the last month, or in the last month, I wish. In the last year. No, I don't wish that. And I could send off 10 orders and there's an issue with shipping, and I could get a neutral, and eBay would swear nothing happens. But things happen because you get metrics on your sales performance in correlation with.
You get a 100% cut in your traffic.
You could do what he has done.
Open arms.
And now, eBay has not responded yet.
No, but his listings are up.
They're live?
Oh, yeah. The listings are live.
eBay, this sucks.
eBay is saying, this guy generates over $1 million a year in revenue for us.
That's all that matters.
Yes.
And for them to take such a harsh stance on idiot customers being right, but then to allow that on their space, eBay, don't talk about, being done the right way and always there for the customer. You have information right in front of you of somebody that's doing this on a large scale repeatedly.
Breaking the law.
Come on back. Water's fine. Your money is good here.
Yep.
And yet we have Danny on Cut the Nonsense saying, we don't need any more watchdogs. In the last 3 months, the ridiculousness that's taken place in the last year, it is insane. It is not normal. It is a concentrated window of so many things happening at once.
Well, and the idea that...
Just shut up and don't talk about it. You won't change anything.
The idea that anybody in this business shouldn't be concerned about things, and we shouldn't be like, hey, this is something we should all be concerned about, is, again, that in and of itself is concerning. Like, I like the guys over at SCN. I like Mike. I like Jesse. I like Alex. I like Gordy. I don't know this guy.
Well, he's an editor with,
but like I don't.
He's an editor, so I would think you understand in the
I understand. I understand in the content creation
yeah.
space. I don't know him personally though, but that's so asinine to me to say that we shouldn't be addressing these things. Like, if we don't talk about these things, if we don't bring it to light, what we do is we enable more bad behavior. The end. Yes.
Well, his counter argument is you and I yelling from our studio is not going to be the thing that changes it. And that stuff changes nonstop in this hobby. And if all you're doing is watchdogging, then X, Y, and Z. But the problem is, in my opinion, if there was no watchdogging, what Dr. Beckett said and the conversation around shill bidding does not freaking happen unless people talk about it. And I'll say another thing too while we're on this, because it comes across so pious, right? With your network that's been around for 3 months, that we don't need these other influencers watchdogging or having negative opinions or just stay positive and this and that. And it's like interesting. You're in a space where your job is to create and curate content about things happening that are relevant in the current market right now, but other people shouldn't do it unless it's a positive take, because he's not a positive guy.
And more importantly,
it's just weird. It's just a weird idea that we shouldn't be talking about this stuff.
None of us, outside of maybe Jeff, are delusional enough to think that us saying something is going to affect everything.
Yeah.
However, if enough of us are saying the same things, and enough of you are listening to enough of us say the same things, then the overarching mammoths that are controlling everything in this hobby right now will start to at least pay attention, because they know that you guys are listening to enough of us that maybe you'll stop spending money. And that's what drives all of this.
Well, yeah. I think there is a bit of fatigue with, no matter what happens in the hobby, there has to be this, like, it's the end of everything, right?
Of course that's a fatigue, and it should be a fatigue.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
But I think the problem is that the response should not be then no dialogue. The response should be, make a point with your content. Don't repeat what everyone else is saying. Talk to the people that Like, when we talk, we try to talk to dealers. Like, there's a lot of people watching this and listening that they're in the same space, similar world as us. So when we talk about what we're seeing and the impacts, negative or positive, that repacks may be having for dealers and tables and offers, it's with the filter that the people listening to this are hoping that the people creating content, like, what are we doing wrong here?
Well, and more importantly, and I shouldn't say more importantly, because that sounds like I'm invalidating your point, because it's a very good point. But along with that, we should all, in this content creation space, strive to do two things: praise things when they deserve to be praised, and be positive about things that deserve to be positive about.
Yep.
We should also not be afraid to call out the things that need to be called out and speak truth to power in those situations about what that looks like. It's not negativity to say that this snipe situation is a terrible look. It's not negativity to say eBay is welcoming back with open arms revenue that there's no rational person can look at that revenue and go, this is legitimate.
He literally said that he's almost sold $1 billion on eBay. So you want a whale to come back into this market that has a history of
that's $13 million.
At least shady adjacent.
No, that's $130
Lot
million.
more money than that.
That's $130 million.
I'm sorry, Gary. I don't know if we've met, but people like us get 13%, and people that shill for $1 billion get welcome back at, I'm sure, a sweetheart.
5 or 6?
Yes. Yeah. And if he's consigning, they'll make it even sweeter than that.
Yeah.
So now, his consignment business, if it's not on the rocks now, I can't imagine. Remember, allegation, allegedly, blah, blah, blah.
Just do this, folks. Vote with your dollars.
Yep.
Vote with your pocketbook.
Yep.
If you want stuff like this to go away, don't bid on Probstein auctions.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep. Yeah. That was a bit of an overreaction emotionally. But that one, that take got me a little sideways on that, because it was just, it was flirting with hypocritical.
Well, and it
at the
goes
very
back
least.
to the guys who are like hobby positivity. It's just as douchey to be that guy as it is to be the guy who's constantly just
You know what those hobby positivity guys are doing right about now?
not much.
They've already sold off their sneakers. They're down on their crypto, and now they're putting away their sports cards and selling those so they can get into Pokemon because they're about the positivity.
Or One Piece.
Well, that could happen. People are really trying to make that a mainstream market.
They are.
It's a big brand. I don't know enough about it. While we are staying positive, Eric,
You there, buddy?
Eric.
We're going to be knocking on your door.
Hey, Eric. We had somebody reach out, a regular listener, and they asked a few questions, what we knew about the programs, the memberships, the fees. And to be honest, we didn't know much at all because it's one of those, fill out a form and we'll give you one of those Grant Cardone sales pitches.
Yeah, walk through 4 different sales funnel videos.
We're closers, and I'm hyped. I'm always excited. Are you hyped and excited for this phone call today? Yeah. Pick your energy up. What's your credit limit? So we were given some very specific details about this course, membership, and the services it provides. And I asked a few questions because some stuff didn't really add up, man. It just really didn't add up. That
At all.
Like it seems like he's charging this, but service might be being provided by somebody. He's like drop shipping a service for people at, I don't know, somewhere between $300 to $500 a month, based off of the allegations that I've heard.
Or a couple grand on the front end.
Yeah, I mean, either
Whichever's
way is
easier
fine.
for
But
you.
But it does cost a lot of money for me to ship things to you, and then you to ship them those same things to the final destination.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know if that's true. So, Eric, we're all ears. We'd love to hear from you. We're gonna keep doing a little bit of digging. That's the plan on our end. Probably the best plan of action would be like, sure, I'd hop on for a call. We'll shoot you questions ahead of time, let you know exactly where we're going, and we'll keep it 100. But man, when we start having people new to the hobby and they start showing us the messages they're getting and what they're being told, they're being offered because they're being told this is how you launch your business.
Yeah.
That would be one of those where here we are again, watchdogging.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Somebody has to protect people.
Well, that's just the thing. Nobody believes we're protecting anything.
Well, they might.
Maybe we can
have
raise
all this
awareness,
information
but
together.
There's a lot of information that's come to light, but we want to be really thorough. So we're going to stick with that. Eric, you're more than welcome to join the show. Look,
Love it.
we got a little fabric banner, cheap little microphones.
We don't have any hair
it's not
gel, and
Tiffany
we don't have
blue.
any special lighting. We don't have any sleeveless basketball jerseys.
I'm fresh out of biceps right now. I'm 40.
So see, but that's okay.
I don't even know how to walk up to a table and be like, "What's your most expensive card you got, dog?"
And can I give you 50% for it?
And if not, people these days, man.
I just lie right to your face.
But you're more than welcome to join. Come on in. The water's fine. If not, just let you know. We'll reach out and let you know we're running a story. We'll be talking about it in the very near future. People have volunteered to speak on the podcast too about it.
Yeah.
Like come to us.
Yes.
We haven't even had to go to them. So got receipts, all that fun stuff. Anyway, that might be coming up very soon, unless we get a cease and desist.
Well, and then that cease and desist is going to have to actually prove that we've said something that's incorrect.
Yeah. Yep. Wow, we are
really rolling today.
Keith's like, can we just have a little nicer intro and outro for the day I'm doing this interview? One more thing before we head into this interview with Keith Neuhart Cards. We're really excited about. Big week this week. Uncle Terry has picked up some fire from the boys. Thought we were giving it to him.
He was so
He was
pissed.
so mad. This Ric Flair auto is going to be a giveaway. It's slabbed in a Becca. It's a reprint. It's a reprint of the card, but it's a legit auto. Ric Flair, and they're going to be giving that away on Whatnot Friday evening over on my cousin Duncan's channel. So be sure to check that out. Up next, we're so excited to bring this to you. We've been asking him for months to be a part of this. Keith Neuhart with Neuhart Cards is going to be joining us live from his shop. Let's check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are live on location in Delaware, Ohio.
Yes, we are. Welcome.
One of our favorite places in the state.
Absolutely.
One of.
We're at Neuhart Cards with the one and only Keith Neuhart. Keith, thanks for being here.
I appreciate you guys inviting me.
You know, this is like our second office many weeks, Gary.
We're both here at least once a week. It depends on what Keith does in his Instagram videos of what's in the showcases, how fast we drive
You're
here.
never here at the same time, though.
Well, we try. We try to avoid that.
You saw that happen one time
Yeah,
when hey, that was my day. That was my day at Neuhart. What are you doing here in not my shop, Gary?
I've seen that happen. That's true.
One of the things that we've been doing is we've been running these interviews for those of you watching, and as I shared with Keith, is we try to give the perspective of different people on the business end of this hobby, things that they're working on, things that are working, not working, things that have changed. And Keith has a really great story of a journey that's lasted more than 5 years, which is not what we hear too often anymore in this space. Gary and I see a lot of people who got involved in this hobby in the last 5 to 7 years. Maybe they had a little bit of success with breaking. Everybody's opening a shop. But keeping a shop open seems to be a lot harder than just opening one.
It's not for the weak, that's for sure.
So, Keith, what I want to do is hit you with some questions just to hear your story, because I think that a lot of the dealers that we see at shows, people that watch this and listen to the podcast, they've got aspirations. They want to consider a brick and mortar. And you have never come across as somebody that's trying to be like salesy with us. I feel like you've always been direct, honest, and I love your shop. I love being in your shop. I can genuinely say that.
Yep, I appreciate that.
I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm going to ask you a question and let you talk.
Let's go.
Tell us the story. What led to, like, was this a dream of yours as a kid? How did you get to the moment where you opened up a shop?
Probably just like everyone, I collected cards. Started off late or early 80s, I guess, when I started really getting into it. Started setting up at shows when I was in high school, let's say in the late 80s. A friend of mine, actually, in 1988, I'll date myself a little bit, we actually opened a shop in Marion, Ohio. My dad had an office building or an office storefront, and he was in the front, and we had a little shop in the back. So we were open on weekends. We were just kids kind of rolling through it. First cases we were buying were 1988 tops. We would go to Columbus, and pay $8 a box and sell them for 10. And gas was $1.50, so we were.
Hold on, Keith.
Yeah,
you talking about 20% margins?
Well,
we got to be careful now.
That's true.
We got to be careful now. They'll hear it.
That
I'm
is very
sorry.
true.
All right.
Exactly. But you're right. So I did that. Went to college. When I was in college, my buddy who was running the store was like, I want to do something different. So I shut the shop down and really just kind of farted around, collected, got a real job. Went to college, got a real job for 15 years. I worked for Huntington. I was a stockbroker, essentially. Loved every minute. I really liked what I was doing. I really did. But the industry started to change. It went from, I was a transactional broker. So I'm the guys who you see on Wolf of Wall Street. Like, hey, you want to buy 100 shares of Amazon, I'm your guy. I make 1%. I'm making $450 for that 40-second phone call. I'm good. Well, then the thing called, online trading, that was $7. It was $5. And I'm like, this is, my career basically is over. So my wife and I were walking down Delaware, and saw a location, and it was $375 a month. I said, I think I can make that nut. And 2010, we opened our first location, our only location, but where we were at the time. So completely different than what it was now. It was maybe 600 square foot in an old building in downtown Delaware. We started originally, and I still think I'm sure we'll talk about this, we're really a single shop that, is forced to have, wax. But yeah, that's kind of where we started, and, it's kind of taken off from there. So, yeah.
What would you say what was it like? What were you focused on? Let's say you got a few months into this, you're getting a feel for what's working, what's not. You were making the large majority of your margins off of singles?
Absolutely. I had no idea. I went into it not really knowing anyone. I just said, I love cards. I buy lots on eBay, and I break them down, and I sell them singles. So I was like, I like doing this, so we'll do it. So I didn't know there was distributors. I didn't know, I had no idea there was Sports Images existed, anything. So I had on my shelves what I had, that I bought in collections, 89 Fleer and 95 tops and just kind of junk stuff, and really didn't know how to go about getting new stuff. So yeah, mostly it was just individual lots that I would break down from buying on eBay and put them in the store at the time. So
as you started to get a little bit of traction, what were like the first couple things you were like, all right, here's what I didn't understand. And once I began to put this in place,
sure,
I started to see a big difference in either the results or, hey, this is working.
No, I mean, there was a lot of time that first year when there would be 0 people coming through the door.
Right.
I mean, at the time, you figure it's a completely different model now than what it was.
Sure.
Nobody cared. There wasn't, there wasn't the spike, that everybody sees now, and there's 40 people and you do 100 transactions a day. There were many days where I did literally nothing except for hope, later that year, I found out, hey, there's a distributor in Columbus, Ohio. It's called Sports Images. Got an account with them, and then all of a sudden, I was getting, Tops, and I was getting Bowman, and I was getting that stuff. There was no limits at the time, but I couldn't afford. It's not like I could afford cases, so I would get 3 or 4 boxes of a few different products, and then people would start coming in because Tops was $45 a box. Bowman was $60 a box. So everyone can afford it. I would put out packs at 50 cents or $1, and then kind of people started to kind of go. So that was that was 2011, 12, and then 2013 happened. 2013 was an awful year. Sports Images in Columbus went out of business. They're back, but it's called SP Images now.
Yep.
But they went out of business. They actually had a warehouse sale where they called in a lot of shops and said, hey, we can't sell this stuff. Give us offers. So we went through and made a lot of offers on some of their stuff they couldn't sell. Topps Chrome baseball, Topps Chrome football. 13, when you think about it, was a horrible rookie class.
Yep.
It was E.J. Manuel and Geno Smith. And
coming off of a
JP
good class.
Losman.
Yeah,
exactly.
you had a
Coming
great
off of
class.
A great class in 12 and 13. So, yeah, it was like a, crap moment at that point because – if they were going out of business, how is little old me, how am I going to kind of maintain it? So, yeah, that's kind of where we started. So, yeah.
With that, there's 2 things I would say. One, all of you who have come up to me at shows and had conversations about the good old days and looked at me like I was crazy when I told you that you could buy cases of Bowman Jumbos for $500 wholesale.
Yep.
I'm not crazy. That's what the hobby was.
Yeah.
But you talk about when 2013 happened, and that was kind of your first exposure to, the market just shifted in a major way. Shortly after you open,
right.
And you haven't even really established yourself yet.
Right.
I'm sure, like any other small business, there were months where you're like, how am I going to
100%.
pay the light bill this
Every
month?
month, yes.
And then you see the hobby downturn.
Yep.
Obviously, you made it through it. When you think back on some of those times, what are the lessons that you've learned that you've been able to cycle through the other 2 or 3 boom bust cycles that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean,
in the hobby,
a lot of it is just having your money in motion all the time. It doesn't do me any good to have a cool looking card for $200 in the showcase in 2013 when no one was going to come in and buy that card.
Right.
I remember I go back to wax. I remember 2012, I believe, 5-star came out, and it was like $240 a box. And I remember thinking, there is no chance anybody is going to come in and buy this product, And so the prices were so muted compared to where they are today. But I think what really saved us is we became an early eBay seller.
Yep.
What year did you start with that?
I mean, honestly, my eBay account is from 1998, so really early on. But
did you do cash sales?
Or
were you in the credit card era?
I'm a money order and cash sales with taped quarters. And
wow.
I love it. I love it.
Yep. And no pictures. You just say, I have a 1987 Topps Mark McGuire, and they go, okay. There was no picture of the card. There was no stock photos. And then they would send you the money order, and you'd have to wait for it. And then once you got it, you shipped the card out. And that allowed us to survive, because we did buy a lot of collections, even though, now we're talking multi-thousands of dollar collections that we buy every day. $150 here, $200 there was a fairly sizable collection then that we were buying.
Yeah.
So we listed them on eBay, or I listed them on the eBay. Brian didn't come in until a few years later. And that's how we survived. It really is.
So were you an earlier adopter then as an LCS doing this, or was this becoming the trend right when that first softening of the market happened for you?
I felt like we were one of the few shops that took advantage of eBay.
Yeah.
You know, again, I can sit there all day and just wait and hope that someone's going to come in, or I can generate some kind of income to where, hey, you know, I can sell something to Oklahoma. I can sell something to New York City where, you know, if I'm just hoping that somebody's going to walk in the door and buy a box of that 5-star. So again, the money was bad. We did $65,000 my first year. In a shop,
gross sales, not profit.
Oh no, that
was
gross sales.
Yeah,
and you know, my rent was $375 a month, and I struggled to hit that number. You know, at the end of the month, you know, I mean, it was lean times. And eBay, I mean, it really we adopted it early. We still use it very regularly every day, but that definitely kept the doors open.
I want to highlight one of the things that you do that's a little unique with this. And if I understand it right, it was something that you made you were trying to find a balance of how can I give the local community a first right of refusal because you have this up and running, super efficient, you know, you're moving cash through eBay.
Right.
So if the way I understand it, once it hits the showcase, it'll hit here for a couple days and then goes online so people have a first crack at it.
Yes. Yeah. We actually just started that less than a year ago.
Why'd you do it?
Again, I would rather have my local customers, and again, this kind of snowball into like why I don't do that many shows, because I would rather have somebody walk into my shop that sells me stuff every day or sells me stuff every week, have a chance to buy our best stuff before somebody else does it. I don't know. So that started things. Again, I wouldn't call it a pioneer. I don't know, you know, a lot of people that are doing that, but we decided to do that to give our local customers a first shot at stuff. So, and it's really turned out well. People watch our videos every day. They, you know, send us messages, hey, I'm going to be there. Hopefully that card's going to be there at 2:00, which a lot of times it's not, but you know,
that's what I said earlier. When I see a video, if I see something I like, I look at my wife and say, hey, I'm headed to Delaware.
The worst is because I'll usually go earlier in the week. And if I spend a lot, because my goal is as soon as I have worked through whatever moved in the showcase, I want to replenish that and know exactly where I am going into that week. So if I purchase heavy and then on Wednesday or Thursday you hit with a really good stuff that's right where I wanted to be spending, that's the right players. Gary's like, I'm going up to Keith. So I'm like, well, have fun, bud. There's going to be a great day for you up there.
Well, and you talked about something here a minute ago as far as like keeping your money moving. Jason and I call that sales velocity. One of the things that you and I have talked about several times is the idea that if you're an LCS, 60 to 70% of the people who come through your door are the same people who come through your door every week or every 2 weeks. You're seeing the same faces all the time. And if your inventory that sits in your showcases gets too stale, they're seeing the same stuff. One of the ways that I know that for Jason and I, you help us and we help you is we're seeing thousands of different people every month. So some of those things that have been sitting for a while, we help you by getting your money moving. 100%. You help us by giving us something that might be a brick for you, but we see other people that they've never seen it before, and everybody wins.
Right. Yeah.
And you get interesting stuff in here. It's not all ultra modern case hit, PSA slab. Like there's unique stuff. There's a lot of the late 90s stuff that Gary and I love. But I will say this, for dealers, especially in the last 2 years, Gary and I have noticed like it's easy for there to be more tension whenever a couple of things happen. We'll talk about it in a minute, but definitely the dynamic has changed on distribution with direct accounts. Margins have changed for shop owners. And you now have the pressure of these repacks offering these super high percentages.
That is true.
But it's been refreshing to me that there's never been a time where I can't have a conversation with you and it's as simple as yes or no. And I think it's because you're committed to like, I have to keep money moving. That's the primary. Do you see that being something that LCSs seem to struggle with or get fixated on a number? Or maybe a better question is, what are the criteria you see when you're like, hey, this is a card that there's a value here. I can see the established value, But is it a timeline where you say, hey, by this point, I just got to move this? Or is it by card? Like, what's the secret sauce there?
It's
because that's hard for us as dealers. We have some in there. We're like, I want that number.
Right.
It's
people get caught up in, and my guys do as well. Like my son has been working here a year and a half. I've had Colin. They're younger. They get caught up in just the numbers. Hey, this Roman Anthony sold for $400. Oh, great. Nobody's walking in my store to buy a Roman Anthony card. So you have to, you have to move your valuations on stuff. Hey, I know that, a Dan Marino autograph will sell faster than a Roman Anthony bone chrome green, which I just bought today. So that's why I'm saying that. But yeah. I mean, it's there's definitely, some things that, again, you just have to go by feel. I'm a feel guy. I don't like to get my phone out on every single transaction. I know an Ozzie Smith autograph sells for $50. I don't need to look it up, and I think that's just from years of doing things.
Sure.
But yeah, some of the new, cherry blossom gin, PSA 10, I have no idea,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is have to go by feel, and relationships are huge in this business. They just are.
Yeah.
Yep.
That seems apparent that the people that hang out with you have been doing it for a while.
Right.
And they choose to still stick around you.
They do. They do. Yeah, Brian's been here 10 years. Like you said, my son's just coming into the business. Colin, he's going to be an up-and-comer. I know we're going to lose him at some point because he's that go-getter guy. Yeah. So yeah, I love the team that we have. It's small, but we're mighty. And yeah, we do some pretty cool things. So,
and Brian knows his stuff. He's been doing this for a minute. He's very familiar with eBay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some choice language once in a while, and he's having to find cards, as you guys know, that we've double sold before.
Don't forget to take a picture, Keith.
Exactly. So we're not 100% efficient, but we're as good as we can with what we have. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the dynamics that have shifted. So I want to talk about this. So, so much has changed since you went to a distributor, bought a few boxes, right?
Absolutely.
And then you have, the COVID boom. Panini seems to have the corner on everything. Wax prices, especially if you had allocations, there was a window where it's like, wow, this is awesome for you, right?
It was crazy.
For about 18 months
and
there.
then things begin to change. Fanatics comes in, which honestly, it was out of left field. If we're all like, I remember when they announced that someone was buying tops, that there was a purchase of tops. Gary and I were recording. I called my dad, put him on speaker, and I told him what we had just heard, and he said, "Well, that's the end of card collecting as far as I'm concerned."
Right. Yeah.
But as that's changed, we hear so many things: advantages, disadvantages. We just had a real interesting conversation with Clever Cuban Cards last week about this very thing. But just from your perspective as a shop owner, what are some of the advantages? What are some of the things that have positively changed with Fanatics? And then, if you don't mind, even though Big Brother's watching,
that's fine
what
with
might
me.
Perhaps be some of the challenges that LCS owners are like, do they see this? Do they hear this?
100%. I mean, first it goes with, to be honest, I think our allocations are, for the most part, are pretty good. Fanatics does not do partial cases. So, you're not offered 4 boxes of Topps Chrome basketball. You either get a case or more, or you get 0. So it's a little easier, I guess, in that fact, because a lot of products, smaller shops, they just don't get allocations. So let's say $25 comes out. The game that distributors play is, okay, you get 4 at original pricing. If you want to round that up, your next cost is $420 when blowouts at $445.
Yeah.
That's the game that distributors play.
And that's a relatively new distributor game since COVID.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, before COVID, you could kind of you couldn't get as much National Treasures as you want, but I could get as much Tops and the kind of the basics.
And Prism.
And Prism was, I mean, we had Prism sitting here and nobody
It was
cared.
harder to get Select as a shop than it was to get Prism.
No one cared about Prism.
Before 2020.
It was $120 a box.
Yep.
And it would sit here for 2 years.
Yep.
Until COVID, then everybody's like, oh, PSA's the best and Prism's the best, all out of nowhere. Because, again, if you're in this before 2020, BGS was number one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where everyone sent their Bowman Chrome baseball, and they were number one. And then again, that shift PSA, when we call them the sneaker boys or whatever, come through, and now all of a sudden it's PSA's number one, and it's, and such. But back to Fanatics. So yeah, we know we're going to be able to get product. The margins are nowhere near what Panini allows. So, you have to sell through more volume. On the downside, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. They're cutting shops supposedly over the next couple of years. So who's on the, the retail train, who you're only going to get retail product, who's going to still, a lot of shops aren't getting offered the big stuff anyway, like Topps Chrome Jumbo basketball.
Wait.
Yeah.
0 offerings?
I got Hobby, a couple cases of Hobby, and we got all the retail SKUs, plenty of that. 3 cases of Megas, 3 cases of this, but 0 Jumbo.
I haven't talked to a single LCS owner who got offered Jumbo yet.
Correct. Yep.
Where's all the Jumbo, Keith?
Yeah, I know where it's going.
I think we all know where that's going.
Yeah.
So like Dynasty. Shops don't get offered Dynasty anymore. Dynasty was a fun product when it was $150 a box.
And not at $2,000 a box.
Not at $2,000 a
for
box.
one card.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But let's be honest, we can't wait to see that in football and basketball. It's
will
going to
we
be
see
gorgeous.
it, though? Yeah.
The singles.
Yeah, the singles great. But again, I mean, most customers aren't going to have them anyway unless they get into their breaks or whatever. So, but yeah, so that's a problem because we get Flawless, we get National Treasures, we get all that stuff. With Fanatics, I don't get Diamond Icons, I don't get Dynasty, Transcendent, that kind of stuff.
You know what you do get? Dune Chrome.
I do have a lot of Dune Chrome, and we do have that for sale. So.
Hey, hit him up. Hey, he likes to keep the money moving, everybody.
Absolutely, yes,
there might be some. There's not a lot of complete nerds on our show, but if you're one of those non-sport nerds that are still here,
yes.
Every now and then I get told I make too much fun of them, so I just keep going.
I promise you, if you come to Black Friday trade night, there might be a Dune special.
That's right. Hey, by the way, let's do this right now.
Yep.
Mid-episode ad. Tonight, if you're watching this as the episode drops, Black Friday, you are full. You got your turkey hangover. You've been sitting on the couch spending money with us on Whatnot all afternoon.
Absolutely.
It's time to come up to Delaware. Come to Neuhart's Cards. Come hang out. Trade night. Fun festivities.
Absolutely.
We'll be there.
Yeah. I promise you.
Buy some Dune
it
Chrome.
is a good time. It is not what a lot of trade nights you've been to have ever been to. So we start off at about PG, and by the end of the night,
who knows?
Gary and I will not be
Earmuffs.
wearing shirts at the end of
Earmuffs.
this.
Yeah,
Animal House.
There might not be shirts.
Yeah, we're gonna paint our chests.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it's more.
gonna be a mural.
It's more of a celebration. So yeah, come hang out with us. You'll have a good time. I promise.
My favorite part of that was increasingly making you more uncomfortable through your announcement.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. All right. Keep shirts on.
So, circling back, you're talking about some of the access that you had to this stuff isn't as available.
Correct.
But you brought up a good point. That's not even a Fanatics thing, but it's the saturation we have of LCSs popping up on a regular basis. It was not even 7 months ago. Gary and I were talking on the podcast. We were looking at a lease. We had a lease structure in hand. We're about to sign a letter of intent.
Right.
And as the more research we did, the more we realized, and we heard, well, there's one popping up over here, one popping up over there. Now, Columbus was probably a little bit underserved for the size of the town.
Absolutely.
But in the last year, we've had so many shops pop up. Speak to that. Why are we seeing so many people? Because they don't have They don't have direct accounts unless they have boatloads of cash right away.
That is correct. Yes.
Why are we seeing so much of this?
I just think it's, you go to a card show, you see, dealers handing over hundreds. I mean, this is easy. I'm going to buy a card of $60. I'm going to sell. I mean, how hard could it be? They don't understand the sleepless nights and the credit card bills and the rotating lines of credit. I mean, it's hard, but I understand everybody wants to live that dream, and you go to card shows and they see these guys, just pulling in hundreds constantly, right? So I think that's what it is. It's after 2020, it was just there's so much money in this industry right now, and there really is. Everybody just wants the little piece of that pie. Yeah. Yep.
And rent's not $375 anymore. Gary and I learned that pretty quick. Part of the issue we ran into too is these lease structures. There's a lot of these strip malls and retail spaces in larger cities that have been purchased by some bigger entity, and they actually have tax benefit if they don't ever lease it.
Correct.
It can stay vacant, and they do
Absolutely.
well with that. So if you want to lease this 1,200 square foot spot, yeah, sure. If you want to pay well over market value, here it is.
Yep.
So it's creating a challenge for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of leases include like revenue sharing as well. So, if you hit above X amount per month, hey, we want a little more kickback.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Gary and I would be landing just under that every month.
That's a
Yeah.
there's a science to that.
Oh.
But yeah, so yeah, it's again, it's a lot of people's dream. So yeah.
What
I
are
understand
you hopeful that Fanatics can do for shops over the next 5 years? So they're getting established. We got the big three.
Right.
They're trying to. There's definitely some things that I can understand of like, hey, let's have at least somewhat of a uniform look in the spaces.
for sure.
But they also talk about growing the hobby internationally, evangelizing this hobby.
Right.
Like, what are you hopeful for? Because you don't. If you want an account, you're in. Like,
Yes.
you're in or out, right?
Yeah,
if you want what you can get, you got to be in that.
You
What are
have to
you
be
hopeful
in.
that they're able to do? What are some things that you could see being positive down the road, or that you're hopeful? Man, maybe give this another look.
I mean, they're a marketing machine, right? I mean, Fanatics is a marketing machine. They're on every TV station, on ESPN. I would like for them to maybe spread that love among other things. It feels like LCS is a dirty name, is a dirty thing right now. It's like, they don't pay 90%, like, well, how dare they? How can they be in business now?
Right.
It is. Or like, how can you be, Topps Chrome basketball was $400. Why aren't you guys at $400? Well, because we're probably paying more than that, or that much, and we have to keep the lights on too. So, and I always say this, and people understand we're a market shop. We are going to be, if Phoenix football comes out at $340, we're going to be at $340. So I would like maybe a little marketing money to kind of go towards LCSs instead of just going to their Fanatics Fest or some of that other stuff.
Which will not be cheap this year.
And we will not be attending.
Right.
So
Well, and I think that goes back to something I said last week when we talked to Alex. It feels to me, and talking to LCS owners that I'm friends with, that Fanatics wants their cake and wants to eat it too, just a little bit. They want the benefits of these shops as if they were franchises.
yeah,
But they're not
absolutely.
necessarily giving you the same marketing and
Correct.
activity that they would if you were paying a franchise fee. But they're kind of getting that franchise fee
Yeah.
with card holders and T-shirts.
They are.
And
They are.
all
Oh, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't see Allen and Ginter T-shirts up in here, but boy, they're trying.
They're on their way.
Now you
they're-
can get. Also, those are full case orders too, right? There's no one-offs.
Yeah, I can buy $1,200 worth of small Allen and Ginter T-shirts if I want to. But what am I going to do with them? So nobody in this shop is small. So
Yeah, nobody in the hobby. You might be the skinniest one I've seen, Keith.
that's a good point.
Nobody in the hobby
That's
is
a
that
good point.
small.
So and that goes back to Fanatics. Like, hey, you love our Topps Chrome basketball. How much do you love our $40 acrylic card holders? How much do you really love our Allen and Ginter T-shirts? How much do you? And I do buy their supplies. Their supplies are fine. Their quality is fine. But yeah, we're not going to hawk Topps T-shirts. That's just not what we do. I don't hawk my own T-shirts. I get them. I give them away. I'm not going to charge somebody for a Neuhart Cards T-shirt. That's absurd to me. But
Well, and that's one of those things that I think the average person in the hobby, to your point a moment ago, I don't know that they really think through. And to be frank, it's not their job to think through it. You'd like them to think through it a little bit before they just fly off the handle about a price or whatever else. But at the end of the day, yes, maybe this Topps Chrome basketball box has a 22% margin at retail. But what about the 3 cases of stuff that I had to
Absolutely.
buy that I can't give away? That eats up that margin really fast.
it does. Oh yeah.
And so when you're going to your local LCS, if you're watching this, always keep in mind, I've not met a single LCS owner yet who doesn't love the hobby and want to be here for the long term and serve their customers.
Absolutely.
That being the case, just before you get upset about a price on something, give it a little thought as to what goes into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's a good thought, Gary.
Yeah.
You look at me.
Occasionally
I
awesome.
occasionally I bust
That was
something
well
out.
thought through.
So, Keith, I want you to pour out your experience and wisdom here. What are a couple? So, let's say if you were starting a shop from scratch tomorrow,
Right.
The lease is no longer $375, but it is an affordable.
It's affordable. Okay.
It's a stretch, but it's
Okay.
affordable.
Sure.
How would you structure your business? Let's
Sure.
say that you could fast track. You could be one of the 6-month-in Fanatics accounts.
Okay.
You could go the singles route and dealer net your cases or whatever.
Absolutely right.
And
you
you've got
could
enough
do
of a PC to fill
Sure.
up a
Okay.
showcase.
Fair.
and you've got all the online options available.
Okay.
You could break if you want. You could yell, "Come on, chat." We're not even close.
I'd rather
you
slam
know.
my hand in a car door over and over.
Exactly.
But what are the things
Exactly.
you would be thinking about now? Maybe are just different filters than they were in 2010.
They are. Yeah. So, I mean, first and foremost, you have to be bankrolled at least a little bit. You can't open on on a wing and a prayer. You can't. You have to have some kind of bankroll behind you.
What's the number you think? Just
Conservative.
If I'm starting today, if you don't have a 6-figure bankroll, I wouldn't even bother.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying low 6 figures, because people aren't going to come to your shop if you don't have anything on the walls.
Yeah.
They're not going
Or
to.
cash to pay them.
Yeah, because again, in Columbus, Ohio, if I don't have it, you can go somewhere else, and I promise you they do.
Yeah.
So you have to have a bankroll. You need to when you open day one, you need to have sellable singles. You have to have boxes for people to go through. You have to have cheap supplies. You have to have stuff on the shelves that people want to rip. We're competing with Walmart and Dick's now and GameStop and all those other places. So you have to keep that in mind and be able to at least try to match what they have. Obviously, we're not going to, have the same bankroll as Dick's or a GameStop or something.
You're not buying the Skeens rookie just to put on display in your shop?
As far as you know, we know. But so you have to have a bankroll. And I really think you need to diversify your business. If you just open the doors and hope and pray that somebody's going to walk in and buy a box of, Chronicles basketball, they can buy that anywhere. They can buy that on Blowout or Dave & Adams. They can buy that on eBay. So you need to diversify. As much as you love or hate it, you need to be on either, Whatnot or TikTok or, Instagram Live or doing something. You have to really do that. And we haven't talked about shows. We don't do many shows. We do the National and we do some other bigger shows and, a small one here or there. But you have to get your name out there. You have to really market yourself very well.
What do you think the key is in building those relationships? Because it sounds like if I had to pick one thing, other than you just have grit, like you've been in that spot and not quit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of it. But I think one thing that's clear when I mention your name and I talk with our people in community, it's not just I know him. There's a lot of relationships there.
Absolutely.
And I think because of the fast money that entered this hobby in COVID, it's far more transactional.
It is.
And, I think for Gary and I in our business, the big thing that we're focused on in the next year is genuinely building relationships. If we're never going to buy a card or sell a card to this person, if there's a similar interest, if we could talk cards, if we have similar philosophies, those relationships are so important. Where do you build those? Where would you be focusing that?
A lot of that, to be quite honest with you, is providing liquidity to our customers. I always say that 99% of the product, the singles that we have in here are bought within these 4 walls.
That's awesome.
I don't go to shows and buy. I'm terrible at it. I just am. I would starve. So if our customers hit a big card, we want to buy it. If you go to a show and you do really well and you're buying singles, we'll take them. We'll get you out of stuff. So I think that really has an edge, gives us an edge over maybe some other shops who aren't buying, Jaden Daniels base rookies all the way up to LeBron autograph, So I think that's kind of one of those things. We provide liquidity and we pay fair. Yeah. And I think that, because not all customers are alike. Some people have $100 budget. Some people have $100,000 budget.
Sure.
So just providing liquidity, being able to cash them out, to be able to buy another box or pay their electric bill or whatever. I think that goes a long way. So, and not humiliating people, I think that as well. I mean,
do you ever get offended in the transaction?
The only thing I ever get offended at is people putting crappy reviews out because we don't buy their stuff.
So you talk about wanting it to be a spot where locals come in. They feel like you provide that liquidity. But one of the things I love that you do, Keith, and I'll be honest, the first time I came here, before I was doing what I'm doing now and making a business out of it, I was so impressed. Like, you all can see all the hobby boxes back here behind me. But this wall is my favorite wall that you can't see. I'll try to grab some B-roll. We'll throw it up here real quick.
Sure. Yep.
But Keith is committed to finding really cool, affordable hobby stuff that maybe 25, 20, 15 years ago. I'm looking at right now at all the Topps Chrome and Bowman Chrome from late 90s, early 2000s basketball.
Yep.
I guess the first question is that mostly sourced in here, or is that stuff you have to go find a little more?
You have to find a little bit more. However, we found a really good auction, Southern Ohio, right after COVID. So it just kind of started off. Somebody was bringing us boxes. Like, oh, this is awesome stuff. Like, oh, well, it's stopped now. My uncle is now selling them at auction. So we went down there, and
I know what auction you're talking about.
I've never really done auctions before, but you're sitting there the first hour, and it's like, oh, 93 finest basketball. Boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden it's like, I can't pay that. But then at about 2 hours later, everybody's money is gone, and I'm buying boxes for 50 cents a box.
That auction went for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was spectacular.
That's the one where you were getting the loose leaf.
I bought multiple Tom Brady rookies for $5.
Right. Yeah.
I remember that was right when I was starting to sell.
I bought a case of 89 Upper Deck baseball complete sets.
Yeah.
For $400.
And we were at the tail end of that. So so I'll tell you a couple big of the boxes we got were 93 SP baseball boxes.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
We got a lot of 96, 97, 98. But again, it was just waiting everybody out. And then it was like, all right, here's a sealed case of 89 Pro Set.
Yeah.
All right, $20.
Yeah. Done.
So we filled a huge trailer, and we're still living off that a little bit. So it is completely dried up. I mean, I don't know when the last time somebody came in with a 91 Fleer baseball box, which I would still love to buy just because we can sell it for $15 and people love it.
Yeah.
So that is really dried up. But that's really hard to source right now. Yeah.
If you guys are able to pop in here, you'll enjoy this wall. I'll show you a little footage of that as well. I don't want to talk about this, but I feel like we have to, Keith.
Sure.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like at some point, every respectable LCS has caved. Even you.
I know.
Because people actually like this stuff. Explain what that has done. You talked about some of the things that have been challenges in that relationship with allocations and how much that's changed, right? And the margin changing. But then you have Pokemon come onto the scene and grown men.
Oh, yeah.
Like grown men my age.
Yeah.
They're buying these on purpose.
Yes. Yes, they are.
What do you think the appeal is?
Boy,
how has it become so mainstream? And is it becoming a sizable piece of your single sales?
You probably owe some people a lot of karaoke songs because I am not ever having Pokemon or Magic or any. I've seen that market. I don't want to be in it. I don't want to have tables set up and sell Cheetos and Mountain Dews to people. Playing the game. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I will give it, my distributor at GTS is like, you should probably start carrying this stuff. And this was after COVID, so, and I'm like, okay. And again, people now, they see the fruits now.
Sure.
So they see Phantasmal Flames at $280 a booster. They see, Mega Evolutions at $300 a booster.
Look at you with the words of it. Look at you, Keith.
Those are the two I know. But they don't remember the slim days of, me buying them for $91 a box, putting them on the shelf for $110. And no one cared.
And hoping.
No one cared. No one cared. Once in a while, somebody would stumble in and say, I'll take a box. But that's, again, we haven't talked much about COVID and just the luck of it. We had so much inventory right around COVID that you couldn't help but make a ton of money just because we had a lot of Pokemon. I'm talking cases and cases that went from 90 a box to 300 a box in a month.
Yeah.
In a month.
Yeah.
And not only did
it was
price,
parked inventory.
And not only did the price go up, but people wanted it. You know, it wasn't just one of those, oh, this LeBron's $38,000. Well, great. Who's going to pay that? This was fighting for those $300 boxes.
Yeah.
And it was wax too. That was like Prism. I've got cases of, 2020 Prism football that nobody wanted at $200. And now they want them at $2,000.
Right.
And so it was just dumb luck. But yeah, Pokemon has become a major part of our business. It really has. It is steady. It doesn't decrease in value like a lot of the new sports. A lot of the sports right now, again, talk about a little bit of the fear. Like in 2013, what would happen is, Topps Chrome would come out on Wednesday. By the next Wednesday, people would be selling those boxes to afford the next product.
Yeah.
We're seeing that a little bit right now.
Okay.
Is because there's so many new products coming out, and it's like, oh, for me to be able to afford next week's product, I need to put this week's product on DealerNet or sell them to a buddy of mine.
Well, you rattled off, 19 products coming out in an 18-day window in December?
And it's all major products. It's not like, oh, you're getting a little, whatever. It's, Topps Chrome basketball. It's Heritage High Number. It's Topps Chrome Update. It's big products that are coming out that you better have a big credit card or a big bank account to afford this stuff.
You know what it's not, Keith? Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary.
It is not, and I don't know why they.
If we could all metaphorically pour one out for our.
I know.
I mean, I just don't understand. I must be in the minority there. I think I literally am in the minority there on that product.
I love that product. It was cheap, affordable, and beautiful.
Hall of Famers, throwback images.
It's a great
fun
set.
rainbows to build out.
On card autos.
Yeah, great set. It really was.
You think Fanatics listen long enough to hear that?
Oh boy, I hope so.
More importantly, do they care?
There's a lot of products they can get rid of because, again, another fear of probably me, but maybe some other, is all of a sudden every single Topps product looks exactly the same. Hey, we're getting Topps. Oh, we're going to make a chrome of it. Now we're going to make a cosmic of it. Now we're going to make a this of it. Resurgence of it. So I hope that they take that Panini a little, and take it a little different. Like,
diversify the
look of the brands. Yeah. So we haven't seen it yet. They tried a little bit with basketball, like royalty and some of that stuff. But, yeah, I hope we diversify the brands a little bit.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up, Keith, first, thank you for running a shop that we love to hang out at. I genuinely mean that.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
We work on our own a lot.
Yep.
You know how it is when you're in the grind of trying to scale that up. You're kind of by yourself.
Yep.
And there's some days where I just love getting out of the house and hanging out here for a few hours.
We appreciate it, guys. Yeah.
May buy a few cards, may not, but we'll have fun chatting it up.
Absolutely. Yep.
How can people find you? Yeah. Where can they buy from you in the shop, online?
Absolutely.
What days are you open?
Yeah, perfect.
How do we give you money?
Hey, we're a Fanatics 7-day-a-week shop. We're 10 to 7 Monday. Thank you.
Great hours. Great hours.
I forgot my Fanatics jersey, but we're 10 to 7 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on the weekends. We buy 7 days a week in the shop. Sorry, Brian. Brian doesn't like to buy on Sundays, but he's forced to. We're also on eBay, Neuhart Cards. We're on Facebook, Neuhart Cards, TikTok, Neuhart Cards, Instagram, The Neuhart Cards. But yeah, pretty easy to find. We're in Delaware, Ohio. We're a retail location. You can find us at the National. We are a 9-year national dealer as well. I think as of last year, we're the only Ohio shop that had a spot. Now another person does, but
how dare they?
What are you going to do? So yeah, we're you can find us anywhere.
By the way, we want you to go to Keith's booth, but we want it to be at like 3 hours after everything's open.
Yeah, wait till Thursday.
Wait till Thursday.
Yeah.
Let us
get there first
on
Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being on here.
Guys,
hey, tonight, come out to trade night right here at Neuhart Cards, 5 o'clock until they shut us down when the cops roll in. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Or it's time for bed.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith.
Absolutely.
Okay, make sure that you follow up. Keith gave you some different places you can connect with Neuhart Cards. Be sure to check them out again tonight, trade night. If you're hearing this right when this episode drops, you got time to get there if you're anywhere around Ohio. And
a great shop.
Great shop, and we'll see you up there. But thank you so much, Keith, for making the time for us. And,
absolutely.
Great story. I love the reminder that it takes a lot of resilience. It takes time. And some of this stuff that we get really worked up about it changing. Yeah. You got to be ready for that on a semi-regular basis every few years.
You got to be ready to just grind through the hard stuff. It's not easy. Running a business isn't easy.
Yeah. Not easy. Not easy stuff. Speaking of that, we run a business. We got some stuff coming up we want to tell you about. Give you a quick rundown of the next few shows. First weekend in December, we'll be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, in the Fort. Shout out to Brad Beeman, B Sports, Car Collector 2, putting that show on. We'll be up there. There is a trade night somewhere in the area Friday night we might check out.
Yep.
But we'll definitely be set up Saturday. The following week, we will be in Xenia, Ohio. And then the week after that is Eastgate in Cincinnati. So
And then it's Christmas time.
Christmas time. Whatnot on Sunday, 4:30. Be sure to join us for that. We also have some random shows on there as we're moving through and liquidating some inventory. So you always want to check for bookmarks. If you see a date you don't normally see up and you got some time free, be sure to do that. If you're watching this right when this episode drops, we're live right now on Whatnot.
Yep.
So hop over and hang out with us. We're running a bunch of stuff at $1 sudden death, and it's just we want to move it. If it goes for $1, it goes for $1. So
Absolutely.
we'd
Come
love
get
to see
your
you there.
steals.
This has been the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.